So if you listen to the Mastering Midlife podcast and you've been listening for a while, you know I have a fascination with talent shows, The Voice, American Idol, Britain Got Talent, America's Got Talent. I don't care. I am so enamored with people putting themselves out there, just putting it all out there, working their whole lives, having dreams, and being vulnerable and risking everything in on a big stage. I know they're completely staged and there's scripts written and they edit things to make you feel things. Totally get it. But ever since Susan Boyle, I've been hooked. I love raw human emotion, and I love vulnerability, and I love triumph, and I love the heartbreak of failing. I don't love it, but I love witnessing people putting it all out there. That emotional range for me is a lot. So I've been watching The Voice, and I watch on the Australian Voice is really good this year, and I watch on YouTube, so I don't have to watch the whole show, all these different shows. And what I noticed was that the artists would, if you know the premise of the voice is the four judges have their chairs, the back of them to the artist singing. So they don't see the artist, they just hear the voice. And then they turn around if they like what they hear. And then they're usually pretty surprised by what someone looks like or how the charisma or the lack of charisma comes through after hearing their voice. And what I've noticed is that the blind auditions, when their backs are turned to the artists, there's something magical and special. These people show up raw and vulnerable and terrified, and their performances match that. It's really, really interesting. They've been working their whole lives towards this moment, and here they are, and they shine or they don't. But there's always something special about the performances when the judges pick them. And then I noticed, and this is the same with all talent shows, it's the auditions that are really, really special. Then what happens is as the competition goes on, the performances are sometimes flat. Sometimes they're overwhelming. They'll pick a song and it's just too big for them, or it's a young artist and the song's too emotional, or something happens and they're just not as interesting as they go through the process. Some people shine and grow. Some people shrink. Some people let their nerves get to the best of them. But I watch the progress as they go through, and as they get towards the finale, you start to see what the judges are looking for, what people are looking for. There's charisma. There's growth in an artist. There's an ability to take over the stage. There's raw talent versus learned talent. So there's a lot of people who come on who are just raw talent and get asked to be on the shows, and either they learn or they crumble and they have to come back a couple of years later, and have to work on their craft. Then there's the people who are just so polished and they have to be broken down a little bit to show emotion and show range. So it's really interesting to watch this process. I also saw this process in Jennifer Hudson. Now, if you could have, I'm in love with Jennifer Hudson. Anybody knows Jennifer Hudson, I would like to have a conversation with her. I'm so in love with Jennifer Hudson. But if you listen to Jennifer Hudson sing now, there is nothing she can't do with her voice. Jennifer Hudson's range and the depth of her emotion that she can bring to a song and what she can do with her voice is so astounding that other people just, like judges, when she's judging The Voice and she starts singing, just look at her with their jaws dropped. But then you go back to American Idol, and Jennifer Hudson got her start on American Idol, and you watch her sing on American Idol, and she was really good. She was very good. She was a bit generic. She had a lot of soul, she had a lot of passion, but she was a bit generic in that league. And what I see is and she didn't win the competition that year. Fantasia Barrino won, and you saw Fantasia. I actually watched that season, and Fantasia just exploded in her talent, in her professionalism, and in her raw depth of emotion. She was ready for this. Now Jennifer Hudson became the bigger star, but it's because Jennifer Hudson grew. After she didn't make it on The Voice, her voice grew, her training grew, her control grew, her emotional range grew. And you just can see the difference of an early 20-something-year-old Jennifer Hudson to a now mid-30-year-old Jennifer Hudson. Where am I going with all of this? It's the same for all of us in our lives. My dad used to say, my dad is so much wiser than I ever gave him credit for. But my dad used to say, Mark, your natural talent is going to run out, and it's going to be your work ethic that's going to carry you to the next level. Boy, I should do a whole show on little nuggets of wisdom that my father told me that I didn't listen to. One of the other ones was get good at something, get really, really good at something, Mark. If you get really, really good at something, you'll always be employed, you'll always have a job. And I didn't listen to that either. Because my dad was uneducated, eighth grade education. He ran a burger and shake, so of course I didn't listen to my dad. That makes me sad. But back to what he said is your natural talent will run out because I was doing drugs in school. I wasn't paying attention in school. I was not hanging out with the best people in school. And I still got good grades. I always got good grades. And he knew that. He knew that I didn't have the talent. So when I went to college, of course, I failed immediately in college because all I did was drink, party, and have sex. And I just couldn't hack college at that. When I went back to college in my late 20s, when I sobered up, got straight A's, Dean's List, Georgetown Presidential Scholar Award, all this stuff. But back then, I just couldn't. I just didn't have the work ethic. I didn't have the focus, and I didn't have the maturity. But now let's look at our careers. There's a lot of people who out the gate are really, really talented. In fact, I noticed that even with my own career as a coach, I had a natural ability as a coach. I've been doing it all my life, but so my natural ability as a coach had me stand out, had me get clients early. And then I traveled around the world and I really honed my skills. I really wanted to master this art of coaching. But there was a point, and there's still a point where my natural ability as a coach, my natural instincts and intuition and gut, and then the training was really messy for me. Kind of when Tiger Woods was messing with his swing and he got better, but he got worse first. The training and my natural inclination, were fighting constantly back and forth, back and forth. Even one of my clients even said, Mark, when you try, you don't do as much with me. Stop trying to coach me. Just be here with me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But anyway, back to the talent. Then I had to learn a skill. I had to unlearn some things. I had to learn the scales, like if I was learning to play a musical instrument, so that I could play jazz. And now, years later, 8 years into this coaching journey, I'm able to alchemize all the spirituality I brought in, all the business coaching I brought in, all the techniques I brought into my natural intuition. And this is the same with our careers. We're on a career trajectory and we have this natural talent. People want to help us get ahead. They'll say, this one's got talent, we'll move him ahead. This one's got charisma. This one happens to be good looking, we'll move them ahead. And you start to have this career. But at some point, the rubber needs to meet the road, and the charisma and the natural talent needs to come with results. People start to look at your track record. Now let's go to midlife. Now in midlife, the competition from below is fierce, right? And the scrutiny from above, and the higher you get, the more people who are gunning for you. And then you're starting to slow down a little bit physically. You can do CrossFit. We talk about this. We can do CrossFit. You can Grant Cardone the crap out of all this stuff and just hustle and hustle and hustle. But that's gonna turn into burnout, and that's gonna turn into you spinning your wheels at some point. Your family's going to suffer, your health's going to suffer. So how do you keep and sustain this? And the way you do that is you grow. You do what Jennifer Hudson did. You really hone your skills. You go into your strengths, right? You really kind of move through this. So this is what I learned watching these talent shows, is that my whole entire career was me growing, getting new and better skills, really deepening what my natural talents were and how do I match them with what I'm learning. And that's a lifelong process. I do that in my coaching business. I'm learning more about marketing and putting myself out there, the things I loathed when I first started. I cannot stand marketing and trying, working on getting clients and putting out a book or getting likes for a post. And, in order for me to get Mastering Midlife to have a contract with a publisher, I need to have so many followers, and I do nothing to help grow my followership. So now, where am I going to grow in my range? Do I want to take my business to the next level? or don't I? And where do I want to learn? Where do I want to evolve so that I can take this to the next level? I don't have to take it to the next level, but I want this message out to more people. I can do mastering midlife and make it like only tens and sell, 60, 70, 80,000 copies, or I can make it a million seller and really change lives. Do I want to do the work to support the vision? And all this is growth in range, growth in skill, and then mixing my natural talents with that skill, just like these people on the talent shows. This is what I got to thinking watching The Voice Australia this morning. I hope this was useful. If it is, please share. Please put yourself on the list because I'd love to start sharing excerpts of the new books that are coming out. Only Tens 2.0 is going to come out in September. We're going to have the Mastering Midlife podcast edited edition in January. And then next September, we'll be Mastering Midlife, the book. So this is going to be a really fun time for me to stretch, grow, and find range. Let me know how I can help. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Take care of yourself. Have a great rest of the day.